I like The Last of Us. I like The Last of Us quite a lot, so I wanted to test my skill in this game by trying to beat both Part 1 and 2 without scavenging. The rules of this challenge are pretty simple. I'm not allowed to pick up anything that isn't a brick or a bottle. I'm not counting cutscenes because I am not in control of my character. If something is put into my inventory by the game itself, it does not count. I'm playing with infinite ammo on and I'll be playing on hard difficulty. The quarantine zone is where this challenge begins and we immediately lose. Yet, you have to pick up Joel's backpack to continue. Well, I'm sure that was just for the tutorial and we won't have to pick anything else up. Damn it! Anyway, this chapter isn't too tricky. The first real challenge comes at the plaza area with all the runners and clickers. This took quite a while, however. It is possible to get through here without any more pickups. Once we escape, we enter the museum and get separated from Tess and Ellie. We sneak by the clickers and stealth kill the runner at the end of the hall. Then we get to the top of the museum and fight a horde of infected. We then make it to the Capitol building and lose Tess. Then we run our way to freedom. I wish I were joking here, but this is a shockingly good strategy in this game. Now we get to Billstown, and this is where the game starts to become a bit more complicated. Again, we're given more chances to scavenge, however, it's all avoidable. Now we make it to Bill's trap. This is a scripted event to use the revolver. So this is where we obtain it. Then we get to Bill's safe house and get the shotgun cussed into our inventory. We are then forced to pick up the nail bomb to proceed. The rest of this chapter is really easy to stealth through up until we get to the school, where we fight all the runners and make it to the gym to fight the bloater. This doesn't differ from a normal playthrough. The only difference is we have no Molotov to kill it quicker. We make it out of the school and continue to Pittsburgh. The first parts of Pittsburgh are easy enough to get through with combat and stealth, so getting through the hotel is fairly easy until we get to the basement. I hate this section of the game so fucking much, it is terrifying, and to make it worse we have to pick up a keycard to escape. Anyway, after almost dying and Ellie gets her first kill, we move on to this big street area. This is an area where all the enemies must die to continue the story, and at this point in the game, I was getting very motion sick, so I had to turn weapons way off. After this encounter, the game automatically puts the rifle in my inventory without me picking it up, so this will not count against me. Next, we meet up with Henry and Sam in order to escape the city. We do so, making it to the sewers. This is another area of the game that I hate, but it's very possible to beat without picking anything up. Moving on to the suburbs and the snipper section, but before that, I want to point out this hunter that Joel kills. Take note of him. I'll bring it back up in a moment. Anyway, we shoot down all the hunters and eventually the truck, then we lose both Sam and Henry, and now we move on to the fall. You know how earlier I said to pay attention to that hunter we killed? Well, once we're able to see our inventory again, we have a shiv that was not there previously. I debated adding this to the counter, however, I will not be counting it because I did not press the triangle to obtain it, and I'll probably not use it in this run anyway. Tommy's Dam and the Ranch after are pretty easy to get through without pickups, so that brings us to the university. The university is fairly easy to get through without any pickups. We get through the dorms in complete stealth after a little struggle. After that, we discover that the Fireflies have moved to Salt Lake City, then get attacked and Joel gets impaled. This is where I'm going to divert the story to Left Behind. Left Behind takes place before we take control of Ellie in winter. The reason I include Left Behind is because it's underrated and it's part of part 1. So we continue the story with Ellie, only to immediately fail. you are forced to pick up a note that has a code on it that progresses the story. And in just the next room over, I have to pick up a key. Then we make it to the pharmacy, only to not find any medical supplies to patch Joel up. We discover a military helicopter and make our way to it. There's a stairway that is blocked by a door, so Ellie has to restore power to it via a generator that is out of gas, and instead of having the Canaan hose Joel had, Ellie has to pick one up that's nearby. Finally, at the last encounter of the DLC, I had to turn the accessibility settings to beat it. It's technically not cheating, because it is a very purposeful part of the game. But because I can get through everything else without it, I'm going to add it to the counter. This concludes the DLC, and I'll continue to winter. We start winter with a bit of hunting. Then we continue on to hunt a deer and meet David. Accompanied by David, we enter what is my own personal hell. The tiny room where the infected swarm you. This one room is, to my understanding, one of the most hated encounters in the entirety of The Last of Us. So we fight through hell after a few tries. We defeat the bloater in the next room and discover David wants to kill Joel and probably Ellie, so he kidnaps her. Joel's dad alarm went off, so he asked some lovely gentleman where his daughter was, and they pointed in the direction of the town. Now we get to the fight with David. This actually went really well, apart from the one I got jump scared.
Oh!
After being sat for a bit, we move on to spring. The spring is fairly simple and straightforward. We see some giraffes. Ellie tries to give me the picture of Sarah, but we ignore her and stealth past the final infected tunnel. This was actually really easy, and I didn't realize you can choke out the 3 runners that are right next to each other. We almost die again and get teleported to the Firefly Hospital. However, they want to use Ellie's brain to cure the world, but it'll kill her, and Joel is having none of that. So we massacre all of them, kill Jerry, and take Ellie back to Jackson. And with that, we are finally done with part 1, and with a total of 9 pickups. Let's see how many more will get added in part 2. We immediately fail part 2 as we have to pick up both Ellie's backpack and pocket knife. We continue on and get some bigot sandwiches. And get pummeled with snowballs by little kids. This technically doesn't count, however the outcome of this encounter is pretty funny to me. Once Dina is destroyed by these children, we transition over to Abby, which goes shockingly well. We don't have to pick anything up as Abby and Jackson. However, the same cannot be claimed with Ellie. You have to pick up a bottle of alcohol to craft a med kit to continue. Not even 10 minutes, Dina forces a Molotov into my inventory. This isn't gonna count because it's not something I grabbed. The next area is fairly easy to stealth through, and we end up at Eugene's library. We look at some weed, and Ellie and Dina have a little fun while trapped in a blizzard. The last Abby section in Jackson is just running and shooting infected. Ellie searches for Joel and he decides to take a trip to see Sarah. Finally, we have to go to Joel's house and pick up both his watch and revolver. And now we continue on to Ellie's day 1. Ellie day 1 starts kind of annoyingly. We're able to skip all optional resources up until the main gate. The game would not let me use my previous knowledge from previous playthroughs to open it, so I was forced to pick up the note with the gate codes on it to open the gate. Continuing forward, we find the Saravina Hotel and go hunt for some gas. Once you get to the semi-open world area, the game automatically gives you the map. This does not count. We run into some infected. Stealth the first 2 and run past the rest. Once we're inside the synagogue, we listen to Dina make a
Dumb joke.
And we have to pick up a gas can. This is required to open the Easter gate and progress the story. Then we make it to the courthouse and use even more stealth to get through the top of it. The garage is a little spooky with all the infected, but we make it through and get some gas. We make it to the Saravina, find a crime scene, and get blown up. Now we start going through elementary school. Most of this doesn't differ much from a normal playthrough, however. I will mention that this is the first time I have ever steered through this grassy arena. The route is very easy as all you do is hide and wait for the 3 wolves to leave. Most of Capitol Hill can be stealthed through, minus the part I messed up, but other than that it's really easy. Once we get to the Channel 13 building and get to the top of it, we have to pick up the shotgun because it is blocking a door to the story progress. Other than that, we can make it out of the news building and escape to the tunnels. Most of it can be stealthed and fought through until I get to this part. I hate this part and physically cannot stealth this part without cheats, so I turned on 1 shot kill to speed through it. If I use it again, I will add 1 to the counter. Once we finish the chase sequence, we make it to the theater, find out that Dean is pregnant, turn on the electricity, and we have to pick up a note from a soldier. This is also required for story progress. The birthday flashback has nothing permanently added to the inventory, so no, the astronaut helmet doesn't count. We finish up this day and move on to day. Ellie data for some reason is much longer than most other sections of the game. Nonetheless, it is very straightforward. We set off to presumably find Tommy and end up going to Hillcrest. There are many encounters with the wolves, and this is where the dogs are introduced, but with a lot of my reckless combat, we get through the first one just fine. We run through the big explorable area and make it to Boris's house and fight the stalker. We win pretty quickly, but this is where we reach a problem. You can't progress until you take the bow off of the stalker's back, so reluctantly, we take it. I'm not super mad about this pickup. We make it to the section with all the house and stealth through, mostly. Once we get past that, we're thrown into many more stealth sections that are a little more difficult, but get through them just fine. Then we get to the basement of the smoked out house and deal with the enemies in there. We meet up with Jesse, not Tommy, and stealth through this last bit till we get in the car. However, Jesse picks up the keys to the truck, so we're just forced to kill a couple of enemies while Jesse drives like a madman. The flashback has no pickups, but I just wanted to add this in as this is the first time I steered through it and got this.
Joel, I think we did it.
I think so. Good job, kiddo.
Yeah, you too. So, what do you say we give up on those strings for today?
Couldn't have said it better myself. I think our only way out is forward now.
Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, we make it back to the theater only to find out Nora is at a hospital nearby, so we start our journey over there. We encounter some stalkers, but we run past and destroy them. So no pickups there. We encounter some Seraphites, but you can stealth by most of them until the big melee Scar. We obliterate him and his friends and continue to the hospital. The hospital itself is surprisingly easy to stealth through. We make our way to Nora and the chase sequence begins. This doesn't require any pickups, so I'll skip to when we torture Nora. Ellie picks up a pipe in a cutscene, but this doesn't count. Ellie makes it back to the theater, and we continue to day 3. Ellie Day 3 is fairly short and straightforward. You come across many encounters and we get through them with ease. Jesse leaves us and again we deal with the mall and take the wolf's bow. We're able to go right past the last encounter and get to the bloater fight. Now, I know that this is possible to beat without scavenging, and knife only however. I do not have the patience to do this, so I beat it normally. We make it to the aquarium, kill Alice, Owen, and Mel, and go back to the theater to switch over to Abby. Abby's section of the game can be argued to be more difficult than Ellie's and therefore more challenging to get past without pickups. We start with a flashback and we are forced to pick up a coin. Then we cut back to the stadium and take Abby's backpack. Other than that, we get through the first half of Abby Day 1 pretty easily. We go to hunt down Owen and pass many infected and Seraphites, but we easily get past them all with stealth up until we get kidnapped and arrive at the forest. This is where I need to accept some defeat because I tried this first section of the forest many times and couldn't beat it, so unfortunately I turned on Touch of Death to get through the forest. But after that, I turned it back off. Then once Abby gets her stuff back, we are thrust into the ambush combat encounter in the building that is unidentifiable. I have seen no one able to give a concrete answer as to what this building is. Anyway, again, I had no patience in this recording session and turned one shot kill on and then off after. Abby drops off the kids, gets a crossbow, and has a very mature conversation with her ex-boyfriend, and definitely doesn't betray her pregnant best friend. Abby's data starts with us going back and getting the kids, and we find out that Yara has to have her arm amputated. So we start on our way to the hospital to get Mel the supplies needed. We encounter some scars, but bolt past them, and then we get to the scars bridges. We attempt to cross, but fall into the hotel below. Once we make it to the stairs, Abby picks up a note left from a dead Fedra soldier. We make our way through the hotel and get to the bottom. Much like the shotgun at the TV station, there is a flamethrower we are forced to pick up as well. Then we get to the hospital, get arrested, and Nora frees us. She directs us towards the hospital basement, where we fight a couple infected, and then we grab the medical supplies we need also. This counts. Then we fight the Rat King, the mini Rat King, and head back to the aquarium to save Yara. We wake up and find Yara and Lev arguing. Then Lev storms off. We play fetch with Alice and discover that Lev has stolen a boat and run off to collect his mother. I get past the sniper and get to the Scars Island. We stealth through the logging camp and farmlands and easily save Lev. We lose Yara and fight our way through Haven. We fight the big Scar guy and head to the theater to fight Ellie. The Ellie fight is the same as a normal playthrough, though it did take me a while to beat her, but in the end we do. This finishes all of Seattle and we move on to Santa Barbara. In Abby's last playable section, we don't pick anything up. When we get back to Ellie, we encounter some infected and get captured by the Rattlers, then escape. Ellie gets the silenced machine gun in a cutscene, but this doesn't count. We stealth by the first group of Rattlers on the outside, then we get inside. The interior is probably one of the harder sections of gameplay, but we make it through to the second Abby fight and finish the game. So at the end of this all, both part 1 and 2 of The Last of Us, we can make it through the games while only picking up 25 items. There are definitely points where I could have spent longer at attempts, but in the end this is just my run of it and I'd love to see others. Credit goes to Twiddle Thumbgaming and Epic Cakes Gaming for the inspiration behind this video, and I'll see you in the next one.